Hi everyone, I'm Nancy Regan, and in this video, I'm going to show you why learning about reliability-centered maintenance is a must for all reliability professionals, even if you never formally implement RCM, because it sets the foundation for your reliability culture. I'm standing on the foundation for our metal building. Today is an exciting day because they're going to set the anchor bolts and pour the footing. There's no better metaphor for our reliability teams. Just like in construction, a strong foundation is essential for good equipment reliability. And reliability-centered maintenance provides that foundation by teaching 5 core concepts. Stick around till the end because you might be surprised about what the 5th concept is. The first 4 steps of the RCM process make up the FMEA, or the Failure Modes and Effects Analysis. And the first core concept within FMEA is writing functions. My mentor, John Mowbray, taught us that reliability isn't a thing on its own, but rather reliability is sprinkled amongst all of the functions of a piece of equipment. So when we write functions properly, we actually define the kind of reliability that we need from our equipment. And I'm not talking about pencil whipping our functions. I'm talking about carefully considering what we need from our equipment and documenting it with specific performance standards. This building will be a garage for my husband, so before we did anything, we had to get very clear about what we wanted. How big do we need it to be? What are we going to do inside? We had to plan ahead for the 2 lifts that he wants, where they're going to be placed, because the cement in the floor will need to be deeper in those areas. I'll have space for my Pilates reformer, and we'll have some other gym equipment, so we designed a small gym in this space. We had to think about bathrooms and sinks to make sure that the plumbing was roughed in before the flooring is poured. We had to get very clear on what we needed from this building before we did anything else. The same thing goes when it comes to our machines. Comment below if you've ever experienced chronic failure because you were asking your machine to do more than it was capable of doing without even realizing it. That can be avoided when functions are clearly defined. The second core concept is properly identifying failure modes. A failure mode is what specifically causes functional failure. My mentor, John Mowbray, taught us that failure modes are the currency of physical assets. That's why it's so important that we proactively identify them and we write them properly. A failure mode is like a road. It leads us to an appropriate failure management strategy. Let's look at an example. When I use the word failure mode, I'm talking about what specifically causes a functional failure. You may call it a failure cause. Let's consider bearing seizes. Well, this isn't a cause of failure, it's a failure effect. There are all sorts of things that could cause a bearing to seize, so we've got to break this down. For example, it can wear due to normal use, the grease could dissipate, it could be greased improperly, or be improperly installed. These failure modes are written at the right level and allow us to logically assign solutions to manage each one. We wouldn't get there by just writing bearing seizes. The third core concept is choosing proactive maintenance tasks that are both technically feasible and worth doing. Preventive maintenance tasks are only applicable to age-related failures, and their task intervals are based on the useful life. Condition-based maintenance tasks, on the other hand, can be applied to age-related failures and random failures because they are based on potential failure conditions and the associated P2F intervals. Understanding these concepts is essential to make sure you're doing the right maintenance at the right time. The 4th core concept is understanding protective devices. Protective devices are devices and systems that are intended to protect us in the event that something else goes wrong, like an overspeed trip or a high-temperature shutdown system. So it's essential that we care for them properly. RCM helps us to identify our protective devices, and it helps us to determine if we need to do a failure finding task. If so, RCM gives us very powerful tools for figuring out how often we should do our failure finding tasks so that we reduce the risk of a multiple failure to a tolerable level. The fifth core concept is what truly brings the power of reliability-centered maintenance together. RCM is intended to be carried out by a multidisciplinary team of equipment experts. It takes more than one discipline to build a metal building. We have an architect, a builder, a cement expert, we have a plumber, an electrician, and the list goes on. The same thing goes for our equipment. There isn't just one person or one discipline that understands everything about a particular piece of equipment. When operators and maintainers and engineers and other equipment experts collaborate during an RCM analysis, and they're led by an experienced RCM facilitator, the results can be incredible. Each person brings different experience and perspectives to the table. This leads to an enormous amount of learning about the equipment and a lot of information exchange amongst the working group members. Together, they work through the RCM questions, resulting in a stronger and more reliable outcome. RCM teaches us the language of reliability. In just this short video, we've used terms like functions, failure modes, P2F interval, potential failure conditions, protective devices, and failure finding tasks. These aren't just buzzwords. These are the foundation of every reliable asset and every effective reliability team. Whether you implement reliability-centered maintenance or not, understanding these core concepts will make you a more effective reliability professional. Just like these building materials are essential to building this garage, the working knowledge you get from learning about reliability-centered maintenance is essential in establishing a strong and effective reliability culture. Even if you never fully implement reliability-centered maintenance, understanding its core concepts will help you get the reliability that you need from your equipment. So the question is, are you ready to build? I'm Nancy Regan from Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Thank you for watching.